Hey, what's up, guys? This is my recap for UFC Fight Night Mexico. I'm just going to go through my picks, the results, and give my thoughts on the fight. In the main event between Loner Kavanaugh and Brandon Moreno, I got this pick wrong. The underdog pulled off the victory, which was surprising, especially considering how young he is and how new he is compared to Brandon Moreno. Honestly, it was a weird fight. It almost looked like Moreno had never dealt with someone throwing leg kicks and calf kicks like that before because he was having a really hard time checking them. For someone that's experienced, a former champion fighting in his hometown, to lose like that was very surprising. In the next fight between David Martinez and Marlon Vera, I got this one perfect. I picked Martinez to win by decision, and in typical Cheeto Vera fashion, he just didn't do enough. He walks forward, takes damage, lands a few shots, but never really does enough to clearly win rounds, and that's exactly what happened. Just like I said in my prediction, it was a pretty lackluster performance. The next fight between Bobby King Green and Daniel Zellhuber, I got this one wrong. I thought Zellhuber would win by decision, but King Green knocked him out in round 2. And honestly, it was kind of crazy watching King Green toy with him like that. Zellhuber has the size, but he didn't use it at all, and he just looked completely outclassed. The next fight between Edgar Chairez versus Felipe Bunes, I picked Chairez to win, so technically I got the pick right, but I don't agree with the decision. He looked bad for most of the fight, especially early, and only really turned it up in the third round, but it felt more like he was trying to play to the crowd than actually dominate the fight, but the judges gave it to him. And the next fight between Imanol Rodriguez and Kevin Borjas, Rodriguez almost got finished early, but just like in his Contender Series fight, he kept throwing heat the whole time and came back strong. It was a dangerous matchup, like I said it would be, but I did get that pick right and I called the KO. Next, we have Santiago Luna versus Angel Pacheco. I picked Pacheco, but I'll admit I got a little carried away with this one. I knew Pacheco would be tough, but it wasn't tough enough. They went to the scorecards and it was close like I thought, but he didn't do enough. The young man, at only 21 years old, was able to pull off the victory. Next, we have Ryan Gondra versus Jose Medina. This was a perfect pick. I said Gondra would win by KO in round 1, and that's exactly what happened. I've said before, Medina is tough, but he gets hit a lot, and if you have real power, then you can knock him out. Next was Aylin Perez versus Macy Chiasson. Another one I got right. Exactly how I expected it to go. A decision win. Controlled the fight for the most part. Nothing too surprising. Next, we have Christian Quiones versus Chris Montunho. I got that one right too. Montunho is tough. He usually survives even when he loses, so I figured it would go to decision, and that's exactly what happened. Next, we had Javier Reyes versus D. Silva de Andrade. Now, I got this one wrong. Reyes defeated Douglas Silva by KO at the end of round 1, but honestly, that stoppage was questionable. People always say it doesn't matter how much time is left, or more specifically, the commentators and the judges. If the fighter isn't intelligently defending himself, that the ref has to stop it, which is okay, but the problem is the inconsistency. Because in the King Green fight, Zellhuber was getting destroyed for way longer, barely defending himself, and the ref let that go. But here, with 1 second left, and the guy being completely okay, you could tell he wasn't in any serious danger or hadn't suffered any real damage. But Herb Dean decides to stop it with 1 second left. Meanwhile, Zellhuber looked like he was on the ground, but it reminded me of when someone's out on their feet. So that sucks for Douglas. And honestly, I was almost right on my pick anyway, because Douglas almost had Reyes out in the beginning of the round with that huge overhand right. But enough of that fight. The next fight was Regina Tarin versus Ernesta Caracate. And I got this one right. Tarina by decision. And I knew that she would have the advantage, of course, since it was her hometown. And when I looked at the stats during my breakdown, I saw that her opponent had a lot of split decision wins, 4 to be exact, in her last 5 fights, which told me that she doesn't dominate her fights clearly enough to be granted unanimous decisions. So I figured if it went to the judges, which a lot of women's fights do, that Regina Turin would probably get the nod, and that's exactly what happened. Next was Francis Marshall versus Eric Silva. I'll admit, Silva scared me early. He was throwing hard shots right away, and I thought I might have been completely wrong. But Marshall stayed calm, he used his fight IQ, got the fight to the ground, and finished the submission in round 1. It was a very solid performance. And in the first fight of the night between Damian Pinas and Wes Schultz, I got this one right too. A perfect pick. It was a round 1 KO, just like I said it would be. My thinking was simple. If you don't have the power to finish early, the fight gets competitive later. But this time the power showed up right away, just like I thought it would, and it was over quick. So overall, I went 9 out of 13 on this card. Not as good as the last couple cards where I only missed 2, but still not bad. And out of those 9, I had 6 perfect picks, which I'm definitely happy with. There are a few surprises on this card, especially the main event. But overall, I would say that it was a solid night of fights. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss my picks for the next card coming up this weekend. And catch you guys on the next one.